So today we're going to dive into a book that people have some pretty strong feelings about. It's been called a masterpiece, and it's also been called a manual for psychopaths. We're talking about Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. It's this modern classic that pulls lessons from thousands of years of history to create a really provocative guide to how power works. And just to give you a taste of its unflinching tone, let's start with this one. Law 15, crush your enemy totally. Yeah, no room for interpretation there, right? The book argues that if you leave even one little ember smoldering, a fire is eventually going to break out. So, yeah, right away you can tell this is not your average self-help book. And look, the point of this explainer isn't to say you should go out and live by these laws. The idea is to really understand the cold, hard worldview they represent and see what insights, if any, we can gain from it. The whole book is really built on this one, single, pretty challenging idea that power is a constant social game. According to Greene, we are all players in this game, whether we want to be or not. Greene uses this metaphor of a historical royal court to describe the world. A place with constant competition, where appearance is everything. And to survive, let alone thrive, in a court like that, you have to master the art of strategy. So how do you even begin to master this so-called game? Well, according to the book, it all starts with controlling perception. Power really begins with mastering your own image and how other people see you. This whole theme covers a bunch of key laws that are all about self-control and appearance. We're talking about protecting your reputation, using silence as a weapon, making sure you're never just another face in the crowd, and even forging a new identity of your own design. It's all about cultivating an aura of power. Okay, so Law 5 paints reputation as the absolute cornerstone of power. You have to build it, you have to protect it fiercely, and you have to stop any attacks on it before they even start. And at the same time, the law advises learning how to poke holes in your enemies' reputations and then just step back and let public opinion do the rest. Then there's Law 4, which argues that the more you talk, the more ordinary you seem, and the more likely you are to say something dumb. But by saying less, you come across as more profound, more in control, and you actually force other people to try and figure out what you're thinking. It's about creating this intimidating silence. So once you've started to master your own image, you can begin to manage others. And this is where the book's advice gets, pretty Machiavellian. It focuses on your relationships with both your friends and your enemies. Law 2 is famously counterintuitive. The book warns you to be really careful about putting friends in positions of power. Why? Because envy is an incredibly powerful thing. They know your weaknesses, and they can easily take your success as a personal insult. A former enemy, on the other hand, has something to prove and often becomes a much more reliable and loyal ally. So, the takeaway here is, you might have more to fear from your friends than your enemies. And this idea of strategic relationships just keeps going with Law 14. This one advises you to use every single social interaction as a chance to gather intelligence. You learn to probe with indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and what they're planning, all while you keep up this friendly exterior. And now we get to the final theme, which is all about execution. Once you've mastered your image and your relationships, you have to master the art of strategic action. Here, we'll get into the importance of timing, planning, and just being decisive. Law 29 is all about the power of foresight. The ending is everything. Don't just start a plan, you have to visualize exactly how it's going to end. By thinking about all the possible consequences and twists and turns, you won't get blindsided by things, and you'll know exactly when it's time to stop. But, all that planning is useless without decisiveness. Law 28 warns that being timid is dangerous. It's better to enter any situation with boldness. According to the book, any mistakes you make through being daring are seen as respectable, and you can often fix them with, even more courage. Like it says, everyone admires the bold, no one honors the timid. So after going through all these ruthless, calculating, and let's be honest, often jarring laws, we're left with this huge question. What is this book really for? Is it a guide we're supposed to follow, or is it a warning we're supposed to heed? I mean, just think about the scale of this thing. 48 laws. They're presented as these timeless, unchangeable truths, pulled from 3,000 years of human history. The ambition of the book is just immense. So we have to ask, is this just a dark, cynical playbook for manipulation? Is it a handbook for the aspiring tyrant or the ruthless CEO, teaching them how to deceive and control people just to get ahead? Or is there another way to look at it? Is it maybe a pragmatic, if uncomfortable guide to the hidden parts of human nature? A defensive manual that teaches you to recognize and protect yourself from the power games that other people are already playing? The book lays out all the strategies, for sure, but how you interpret that and how you use that knowledge, well, that's up to you.